Hello and welcome to a new Lakers Theory podcast. I am Shane Jackson. This is Austin Case with me. We are live on all three social media platforms, that is Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, over at Lakers Theory on all three, giving our live instant reaction from a Lakers season opening loss to the Golden State Warriors by a score of 121-114. We don't really have a whole lot of an outline to this. We're just going to kind of say our initial thoughts, and it may not last that long. And this may not be good, so we'll see how it goes. But I kind of wanted to get instant, fresh analysis, especially from Austin, who can be kind of a sore loser. So let's start there, Austin. What are you most frustrated about with the Lakers' loss to the Warriors here tonight on Tuesday?
I think the most frustrating thing is honestly just the fact that they lost this game. I don't know. I never felt during the course of the game that they were going to lose. And honestly, I was so excited. Just anytime someone's on the court, it was really engaging for me. And I think it just has to do with the way the roster's built and honestly just the guys that they have on the team. Honestly, I was excited when Rondo was on the court, and I'm like, yes, it's good to have Rondo back. And honestly, anytime Carmelo was on the floor, it was I was just hoping that he would do something crazy. Honestly, if I have to say something frustrating, it was just that point in the game where it just turned. And honestly, for me, I don't know why, and it just kind of slowly, it just happened. And I never felt like there was some big moment in the game that led to the change of momentum, but it just kind of gradually withered away. And next thing you know, the Lakers are struggling to kind of get that bucket they need to get back in the game, which honestly was an issue last year too. So,
Yeah, so you're talking about the stretch. I mean, there's late in the third quarter during the non-LeBron minutes, where the Warriors made a late kind of a charge. I think the Lakers were up by a pretty comfortable margin, and then the Warriors made a charge, made it close right before the fourth quarter, and then that kind of bled into the start of the fourth quarter, where the Warriors took over and took control. It kind of just boiled down to the fact that Lakers couldn't get a stop defensively. And I think you saw just how drastic that stretch was, because Frank Vogel then put in Avery Bradley shortly after that stretch. And Avery Bradley was signed off the streets yesterday. Frank Vogel said he wasn't going to play, and then he had to play because he wanted it stops that badly on the defensive end. And then Avery Bradley made some plays that, was that was really cool. Hey, we're going to get this revenge game for Avery Bradley that I didn't know we needed. But I think that was the stretch, and that was what it boiled down to, was defensive concerns on the Lakers end that kind of let that get away. And I don't want to overreact to that or this game in general, because I think it's worth noting that the Lakers were without four wing players. A couple of them who were rather key players, especially on the defensive end. So I feel like that you kind of saw that throughout the game. There was a lot of makeshift lineups, notably when Russ and Rondo had to share the floor together, and how bad that looked. I don't think you're going to see some of those lineups when maybe this team is at full strength. And obviously the Warriors are dealing with their own sort of injuries as well, but I think that you could see how obvious that was from the Lakers' perspective tonight. Because I don't know, I was very excited about a non-LeBron minutes team and what that looks like, but I don't think you're going to get a good look at that while they are kind of shorthanded like this. So I think all of that is to say that I think we should have seen this coming a little bit more. I predicted that the Warriors would win, so I did see it coming, but I don't know. First of all, the Lakers have not won a season opener in the LeBron James era, so that streak continues. And LeBron himself is not very good in some of these opening games. I don't know his exact stats, but they weren't good. And I don't know. It's just, as we mentioned yesterday, there's some natural like, hey, this team's got to figure each other out, slowly kind of get that sorted out because of the roster overhaul in the offseason. And I think it was just naive to kind of expect that all to work night one, especially after a winless preseason. But it looked a lot better than I expected for a few quarters there. I mean, it was disjointed at times, but I don't know, like there was legit concerns about the way the Lakers looked in the preseason, and I don't know if they were realistic after the kind of that start of the game one. Like LeBron James looked like LeBron James again. Anthony Davis looked like one of the better players in the league, and so yeah, I don't know. Like it didn't look as bad as maybe I thought it was going to be, and I think there might be some overreactions that aren't really warranted because of it.
Mm-hmm. So just to kind of key in on LeBron's opening night, he finished with 34 points, 13 of 23 for shooting, 5-11 from deep, 11 boards, 5 assists. So he led all scores. What is that? Over 50% shooting. So
yeah,
that's impressive.
Dialed in shooting wise, like he started 6 for 6. His first 6 shots went down. Anthony Davis looked good. I don't know. Them two together. I think I saw a take like right away. It was like how concerning this was because LeBron and AD looked so good and they didn't win because no one else played well. But I don't know. I don't look at it that way because this is what you expect with the Lakers, right? I mean, this team may be different, but they're still the same. They're still built around AD and LeBron. And I don't know. I don't look at it that way where they played well and they had to win. I just think that ultimately it came down to maybe defense and a stretch that got away from them that probably could have been fixed if they were more closer to full strength. Let's get into Russ because I know you're dying to do that. To say Russell Westbrook did not play well would be an understatement in his Lakers debut, which is rather disappointing, I might add, because Russell Westbrook really does want to be a Laker. And so I don't know. I'm going to root for him, continue to root for him. He played 35 minutes. He was 4 of 13 from the floor, 0 for 4 from deep, a minus 23. He scored 8 points, 4 turnovers, 4 fouls. So tough scene. Someone who watched Russell Westbrook for an extended period of time, I forgot his handle already, said that this is normal for him. He also starts off slow. So I don't know if there's if that's true or not, but I'm just going to claim it is as fact because that would speak to it. But also, let me get my take out here before you can ramble and talk about how bad he was. But what I was saying about Russell Westbrook yesterday in our season preview show and why I picked him as the MVP of the Lakers was because he would win a lot of those crappy random games for us, or he would play a lot better for us. Against the Warriors on opening night, I expect LeBron James to carry the Lakers. I expect Anthony Davis to play extremely well. Like Russell Westbrook doesn't have to play well in those games. And obviously the fit comes down to what this team looks like in the postseason, but that's not what we're analyzing right now. We're analyzing, game one of the regular season, and I don't think we needed Russell Westbrook per se in a performance like that. But I will defer to you and let you have the floor. This could be a few minutes of just kind of roasting Russ, and so if you're into that, this is the time to listen to the podcast.
So I did yesterday. I thought that Russ would come out. I thought he would have a great game. Like he wanted to be a Laker. Like he was, he was. This is a dream come true that he's playing for the Lakers. So, I thought he was going to have a triple double. He was not close. I can't say I'm not surprised that of his play. He was the game worst in plus minus.
Yeah.
I think it was after his second missed shot, I kind of said something about it. Which we were like, I don't know,
3 minutes into the game.
Oh yeah, like 3.5 minutes into the game. But
yeah,
I after I said that, I was thinking, I was like, is AD gonna be on the floor more, or is Russ gonna break more shots this season? Because honestly, I'd have to rewatch the game and kind of tally each, but that could be a good competition there. But Um, yeah, it was a bad night. Um, honestly, outside of the rebounding and like getting assists, I wasn't surprised that he shot poorly. Because honestly, every game I've seen him in, he shoots poorly. So, and also I don't think that's why he's on this team. Like he's not here to provide a shooting presence. But I don't blame this loss on him. Um, maybe I want to, but he did make a couple mistakes, but I think there were a lot of guys who made mistakes. So, um, it's a bummer that they lost, but um, my hate Russell Westbrook is kind of happy he played real shitty and had a real bad game, but um, I am upset that they lost. But I do know that it wasn't his fault. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, minus 23 might be close to his fault.
Yeah.
No, that was a lot more tame than I expected. But anytime that he has a bad game, this podcast will not be as enjoyable for me because I will have to give you the floor and let you rant for a little bit. But no, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'll reserve judgment on this team and him in general for moving forward. Obviously, I'm not going to overreact to one game. I don't know. We can be more optimistic now, even though it was a loss. Was there anything positive that you took away from this game that you noticed that was worth pointing out?
I think Kent Bazemore is a exceptional defender. And honestly, I don't know if this will get talked about enough by professional analysts and stuff, but like he did such a great job, and I feel like it's going to be overshadowed by LeBron's offensive night and honestly AD's and stuff like that. But I don't have exact like Bazemore on Curry stats, but um, Curry shot two for 8 from deep. That's a win, honestly. Like Kent Bazemore got a dub against Steph Curry tonight, and so that's a positive thing. And honestly, Avery Bradley played 8 minutes, and I think he was like I don't know. He was a difference maker, even though like he kind of came in once the game was kind of getting out of control a little bit. But like his presence on the floor, like it gave the Lakers a chance. Just defensively, and then he hit a couple of good shots and stuff. So that's a key thing for me because like he's on a non-guaranteed contract. So like the Lakers could just be like, okay, see ya. But then I feel like you could toss him in the game at any moment and he can make a difference, a big difference. So that's a good thing to me because it just kind of, it's a deep team, even though we didn't see everybody tonight because guys are banged up, but it's like, a guy who's been with the team since yesterday can come in and make an impact. So
yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. His defense stood out to me basically from the jump, and so yeah, I think it was worth pointing out for that. I don't know. I think my overall takeaway from this game, especially in that first half, was just it was at least enjoyable and entertaining. I don't know if it was good. Um, but I was thinking about this because we did this podcast all the way through last year, and I don't know how many halves we watched of Lakers basketball last year where I was like, man, that was fun. Part of that was just because of our expectations, and they ended up disappointing us. But it was also just the way kind of the season unfolded and how they played. But I mean, that first half, and all the characters they had trotted out on the floor, it was at least entertaining. Now, whether or not all those pieces fit together and it works out remains to be seen. But from at least a fan perspective, I at least had fun watching a lot of those players get out on the floor and do things. And notably, obviously, LeBron looking a lot better and a game that mattered, and Anthony Davis looking more engaged from the start. I I don't know, like led by those two, I just felt like I was more entertaining than it had been for most of last year.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like I generally enjoyed the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
And even late, like I think they were down 9 and there was like a minute 40 some left. I was like, they need like one shot and a stop and like it's a game again. And so um like it I'm honestly this is gonna be an exciting team. Like, you know, LeBron and AD just by themselves can make the team exciting.
Yeah.
Even though Russ was garbage tonight, like he's gonna be exciting to watch. Like he's not gonna be
Hmm.
terrible all the time. Um, and like honestly, Carmelo, like
Yeah.
and that I'm sure a lot of people feel this way too about Carmelo, but like for me, it's exciting to see Carmelo on the Lakers, and like I
Mhm.
personally got excited anytime he was on the court. But
Yeah.
um, I mean, there's just a lot of guys on this team that can, provide, I guess, excitement in a way. Um, and so yeah, like I think last year's team was boring, but also like we had high expectations, and obviously
Hmm.
those weren't met. But yeah, and it just like every game felt like it was just like, what the heck just happened? Like
Yeah.
sometimes they won, and we were like, that was a shitty game to watch, but we won,
Hmm.
so like let's go. But yeah, I don't think it's a completely different atmosphere. I feel like with this team.
Yeah. Super cool to see, that standing ovation for Carmelo when he got in the game. Super cool to see, these Rondo to AD lobs that we had been familiar with. That was pretty cool. Yeah, it was just like there was cool moments in this game that maybe didn't bring me as they brought me more joy in this game than I had most of last year watching this team. So I don't know. I remain optimistic. I remain hopeful that this team will be very good. Whether or not it happens remains to be seen. But at least it will be entertaining, and that is more than we could say. Yeah, let's look ahead to the Suns on Friday. Just one note. I mean, what would you like to see in Game Two? I think this is actually kind of more telling, maybe about the Lakers as opposed
Mhm.
maybe to night one.
Um, I truly hope AD dominates in this game. Because it was so annoying. Like the Suns fandom and stuff, they were like, honestly, like, and this was just stuff I saw, like talking shit, like how they dominated AD, and I was like, well, he played what 2.5 games. He kind of played the first game, but
Mhm.
like he kind of dominated game 2 and 3, and then after he was gone, it was kind of um, it was done. Like so, I want AD to dominate this game against the Suns, just to kind of say, I feel like we are like, what if AD was healthy the whole time?
Yeah.
This will kind of, back the people up who are saying that, if AD was healthy, the Lakers are probably advancing. So, um, yeah, I just want AD to dominate and honestly just get a win.
Mhm. Shout out the Killer Club. Just pulled up this comment on YouTube. He said he or she said if Buddy Hield was on this team, they'd be a lot more dangerous and probably win this game by 20. True. I think when the Russ news happened, obviously we knew that Buddy was an option A for both of us, and that's what we would have
Mhm.
preferred. Once Russ came on this team, I had just accepted it, whereas you complained. But that's why we spent our focus talking, or at least for me, was like, hey, I still want to see what Russ does. I'm hopeful or whatever. Whereas, yeah, obviously we would have preferred to have Buddy. That's
Yeah, I said I was like watching this game and I was like, Alex Caruso could be doing all these things that Russell Westbrook are doing. Like,
My God. I'm gonna
um,
watch him the Bulls game tomorrow, and I'm just gonna cry.
yeah, it's gonna be
I'll
sad.
miss him
Like,
forever.
I got to watch the Bulls games now. I have to watch the Wizards because I have to I have to just watch Kuz and KCP be like amazing players and just in my head know how it was a huge mistake to trade them. But no, I do feel that way. Caruso could do these things. Like there's a trade off. He would bring more defensively, but he's not going to have the same playmaking ability. But it is what it is.
Well, we appreciate the comment, the Killer Club. We will do more of these live shows right after games, so you can comment it and enjoy the conversation with us. And follow us on all social medias as well. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at Lakers Theory. We tried to provide more updates through this game today, so hopefully we'll keep doing that moving forward. Was very bad about that last year, so hopefully we can provide more thoughts and analysis as the game goes on this year. But I think that's going to do it for us. We spoke for 20 minutes. Now it's probably about 10 minutes too long for a game that ended the way it did. 121 Warriors, 114 Lakers. That'll do it for this edition of the Lakers Theory podcast. He's Austin Case. I'm Shane Jackson. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next time, most likely Friday night.